Hello, everybody.
Hello.
This is the virtual poetic license on FCTV. I'm going to start with the FCTV mission statement. Falmouth Community Television is a nonprofit community media center that fosters the production and distribution of local information. FCTV provides access to training, technology, and content to encourage community dialogue, awareness, and expression. All voices are welcome here. There's a lot of wonderful programming on FCTV. To name a few, there is Falmouth in Focus. It's a bi-weekly public affairs program hosted by Michael Kasparian. He's the president of the Falmouth Chamber of Commerce. And we have comprehensive updates from Falmouth's health agent, Scott McGann, about all things COVID. I watch him all the time. About, the numbers, the forecasts, state and local requirements, etc. And on August 13th, there's going to be a special event at 6 p.m. on Channel 13. It's a Falmouth Trivia Night, hosted by Emily and Ellen, their FCTV interns. Test your knowledge of Falmouth trivia. I will be there. I can't wait. Of course, FCTV offers membership opportunities, and other contributions are always welcome. There are volunteer opportunities, and any financial assistance goes a long way towards funding the operations and projects here. You can get all the information at fctv.org. Poetic license is going to be 1 year old next month. Yay! We started off in that beautiful brick and mortar building over on Dillingham Ave, and it breaks my heart that we can't be there. So much has changed because of COVID, but we're making the best with this virtual format. Thanks to Andrew Richards, who helps us create and then edits the final version of our program. You'll be able to watch it in the near future on FCTV's Channel 13 or their YouTube site. You can even go back and watch previous programs if you want. Now for the business at hand. Tonight's performers each have 4-minute time slot. This open mic features original poetry, solo acoustic music, story, spoken word performance, and tonight, beautiful graphics. When I read your name, unmute your mic, and when it's your turn, please repeat your name before you begin so the audience who watches hears it again. And you can let us know when it's your turn if this is your first time so we can cheer you on. I'm going to begin this evening with a new poem. Again, my name is Donna Scheer. I'm a jazz singer, a former kindergarten teacher, and a poet. I would be spending every Friday and Sunday night singing at the chart room like I have for the last 20 years, but that's not going to happen this year. Anyway, the piece that I wrote is called Grasping at 1969. And it's for all you aging hippies out there with love. Grasping at 1969. Who says gray must be drab? You long for hippie hair. Loosen it. Let it flag around your shoulders. Surrender to the freedom of silver. Then weave a grassy crown flowered round your brow. Recall the fluttering kimono, its rich and royal hue. Then truck your belly into jeans worn chalky at the knees. Albino feet blink in the sudden sun. Arms jangled with silver, hoops spinning as Joni and Janice trade licks in your ear. Hands grasp bread beaded with wholeness. Macrame trailing clouds of patchouli, and protest songs strummed on an ill-tuned guitar. But these are mere trappings. Dream deeper. Embrace language salty as a sailor. Blaze the building. Ignite the wild flame at your core. No denying you are singular and who you have always been. Merge with the gypsy dancing beneath the years. Finally, unlock that sweet cupboard filled with yearning for a long-haired guru, the one who burns the boat that's drifting you towards oblivion. Will him to shuffle you again and again like a tarot deck laid back on the velvet underground. Come morning, he deals you a cup of smoky tea filled with peaceful release. Righteous, you sip synchronicity. Approaching that final love-in, all you need is more time. Alrighty. Thank you. Okay, well, Merryn, it is your turn. You're first up, and you're brand new today. Congratulations.
Thank you, and thank you for the event and colleagues that I'm getting to know around the area. So I'm new to the area, having come from Vermont, where I lived for many years. And Vermont, perhaps more than Massachusetts, is all about the weather and the vagaries of the weather, which are never ending, in spite of your experience down here in 2015 in the snowstorm. So I'm going to read two poems, the first of which is about Vermont, and it's called Passagère, with a short epigraph from Rilke. Puisque tout passe, faisons la mélodie passagère. Since all passes, let us make fleeting melody. Most years, spring here takes its time as icy earth resolves to mud that lasts for weeks in what Vermonters call the fifth season, meaning a boring prologue to smeary substitution. This spring, there was no in-between, but a quick turn from one day to the next. I rose expecting bleak monotony, and instead beheld the serviceberry newborn in silken fawny buds. In 3 days' time they burst, petals trembling, then bowed in a crisp breeze to leaves pushing in behind. Discarded petals lay on the dormant grass, like a first dusting of autumn snow. And that was first published in Aurorian. The second poem comes from a collection that I started in about the year 2000 when I was sitting in church and I found myself arguing silently with the way the text was being represented. And so I would go home on Sunday afternoon and kind of continue the argument. And what the essence was for me was that there are all these voices, particularly of women, also of the disabled, like the blind man in the gospel, where we don't hear the woman's voice. We hear the story in third person, or we hear a sort of distant echo. And so this one is from Genesis. It's Sarah, who you might remember is a very, very old woman. She conceived Isaac. And I learned before I wrote this poem that Isaac means laughter. Sarah names Isaac, meaning laughter. To name my darling laughter, I had only to recall the strange quickening when lighting the fire for our meal. I imagined, after so many years, my belly full as I bent to fill my jar from the stream bed, light fire, grind grain, of caressing my roundness with one hand as I worked. When an intimation whispered that I would conceive, I felt my old face crease in a smile and my belly shake as laughter lifted wonder from a dry, dark place. And that was first published in The Mountain. Thank you all.
Thank you, Merryn. Awesome. You made Vermont very real. I've only been there once, but I loved it. So thank you for that burst of spring that you brought out of Vermont for us. Next up is Karen Klein. And this is also your first time on the virtual program. So welcome to you and congratulations.
Okay, I think I'm unmuted, but Donna, it's my second time.
Oh, is it your second time?
I read last year once. One of the times that I read, I live part-time of the year in Mashpee, and I'm here now in Mashpee. The poem I'm going to read was recently published in Ibbotson Street, number 47. It's a lovely press and a lovely actual print journal, which is unusual now. The poem is called Shostakovich Fifth. This is a poem that has been revised many times. It documents my hearing the Boston Symphony at Tanglewood in 2018 play Shostakovich Fifth Symphony, which I had never heard live. My response was not only to the music, but to the audience response and also to the fact that I was with my little sister, my only sibling, who spends summers with me and who is here with me now. The one fact that I think people should know historically about this is that Dmitri Shostakovich was under the gun with Stalin, who hated him and felt he was insufficiently Soviet. And so part of Shostakovich's performance with this Fifth Symphony was to prove to Stalin that he could be a Soviet and that he could be okay and not be sent off to Siberia, which was a real issue for him. So part of this is not only about me hearing the music, the audience, but also about the composer. Shostakovich Fifth. Strings pounce on the note, startle the audience to attention. We didn't know what was coming. We didn't know we would drown. We will drown. Through the tumult of horns, a solo instrument, sometimes a violin, sometimes the flute, the ache of its melody, a stiletto thrust that opens memory's wounds and weeps. My baby sister, snow blonde, running after Skippy, her little legs churning. Peppy march, stomping along with its brutal irony, wave after wave, flute, oboe, cello, pulls us out. Woman in front of me, hunched over, fists clenched, unclenched, arms pulse up and down. Undertow drags us back within. Old parental voices, quote, the squeaky wheel gets the grease, unquote. Clear celeste harp tones wrench tangled knots of childhood. Timpani boils over, cymbals slash through brass blare. We give in, we give up, we beg. The composer begs for release from old, intolerable, unresolvable contradictions. Exhausted silence. Then, like a giant breaker, The audience rises, roars. Thank you.
Oh, thank you. Wow, that was awesome, Karen. Shostakovich.
Thank you. Shostak, wonderful symphony, magnificent composer. I had to get old to really enjoy him, to understand and like him.
Oh. Okay, thank you. Joyce Wilson. It is your turn, my friend.
I'm unmuted now. Okay, you can hear me? Yes, this is my third time, and I have 3 poems for summer. The first poem is, and I host a website at the Poetry Porch, www.poetryporch.com. The first poem I will read is Sonnets for Sunflowers. May sonnets I create today vibrate, and methods I employ be multiple, like these self-seated favorites of Van Gogh, who stand together, many 8 feet tall. May several lines exact their bright appeal, as blossoms do in hues of gold and yellow, whose crenellated crowns of petal silk surround a fertile darkness at the center. May stanzas open branches up to let the songbirds come and feast among the leaves, upright or hanging upside down, to rip and scatter hope by sowing next year's seeds. Before the blossoms shrink and lose their color, may these few words record my love of summer. And the next poem is from the painting on the cover of my book, Take and Receive. It's at the MFA, and the painting is called Zinnias and Marigolds in a Porcelain Vase by Herman Dudley Murphy. And these were my mother's favorite flowers. So this is a poem to my mother. What companion would you select in this common country garden? Both zinnia and marigold, the elegant and sovereign. Elegant. The zinnia is tall, hardworking, vigorous, in yellow, pink, magenta splendor, a favorite of the local vendor who praises its unerring charm, waltzes on late summer's arm, bowing, sumptuous, twirling, chaste, beside the rose, almost straight-laced, reaching out to gather in, when cut, its blossoms come again. Sovereign. The marigold will keep its yellow petals rolled. The double gold anemone supports our summer's currency that must not be withheld but spent according to our agreement on what we need, how much we have. Its beauty, bold and curative, can keep the pests away from those most precious of our tomatoes. And I have one other, couple of years ago, I got Lyme disease about this time of year. And I wrote this poem to a deer tick. It's a thank you note. Dear tick, you might have rung to let us know you'd come, and not have loosed your tongue to make yourself at home. You never introduced your intimate, the deer, a most distinguished guest, though sickly to be sure. Without alerting me, you left your precious stash, your gift of spirochetes, your calling card a rash. How rude of you to die before we'd said goodbye. Thank you.
That's awesome.
Thank you.
That sounded like a Billy Collins poem. He always picks the oddest topics, but that I've never heard a tick one before.
Yeah, I don't know if I should mention a mouse in there because it's not really the deer, it's the mice but anyway, I don't know.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right, John Jackson.
At least she didn't mention the wee timorous beastie. My name is John Jackson. I've been here before. My current working muse is limericks of protest. And let me see if I can find my document. There we go. So, I have 2 limericks and a ballad for you today. Anywhere an American goes, you might be exposed to a nose. Why, you might ask, is their face at half mask? Afraid it might just come to blows.
Mhm.
All the wrongs we ought to be righting, but authors and poets are delighting. No one could confuse Trump for the muse, but he sure has inspired some writing. Now, let me find my scroll bar. I have a friend on Facebook about 10 years ago, in some fit of storytelling, told the story of a birthday party for his daughter, where he took them all to the local roller rink, and things didn't go quite well enough. This poem is called The Ballad of the Mute Kangaroo, or The Quiet Kangaroo, and I must explain this one thing. The Quiet Kangaroo is a costumed character, a person in a kangaroo costume. For example, you go to Disney World and you might run into Mickey Mouse on the street, and everybody knows what Mickey Mouse sounds like, but when you see him on the street, what's he say? What's he do? Well, actually, I don't know. I haven't been to Disney World ever. But my thinking is, you're wearing this giant head. So if you're going to be dressed up as a kangaroo, or in my case, as a naga bird, and you want to say something, it comes out like, happy birthday to you! Happy birthday to you! You cannot hear it. So that is why the mute kangaroo. So this fellow posted it on Facebook, and I must have had too much free time, because within the space of about half an hour, I'd come up with a versification. Later on, when I wanted to present this, I realized, oh my word, just change a syllable here, a syllable there, and it fits to a familiar tune. So I'm sorry, I'm going to sing this. I have a sad story, it's sad but it's true, of birthday cake, roller skates, and a mute kangaroo. Birthday party for 10 at the roller rink, with pizza to eat and soda to drink. And when the girls all sang happy birthday to you, the cake was brought out by a quiet kangaroo. A roller rink kangaroo is forbidden a voice, which left the guest of honor no room for choice. The birthday girl, she was not feeling quite right, but she dutifully ate a piece to be polite. And that was more than that poor girl could take, and she brought forth pizza and soda and cake. Roller skating had made her a little unstable, and she covered Dad in the chairs and the table. While Dad was surprised, he was not all mean, and table and daughter, he got them both clean. And so she sat quietly taking a break, but silently came kangaroo with more cake. And this so unnerved that sweet little girl, she looked again at the cake, and again she did hurl. Once again Dad did clean up, once again she should rest, this time out in the car might be best. But in the parking lot the kangaroo managed to find her, with the leftover cake, an unsubtle reminder. And once again that dear girl did spew, and Dad finally had it with silent kangaroo. For the first time, the second, and this time the third, you've delivered this cake without saying a word. I've cleaned up my daughter, you won't even talk. I've cleaned your table too, now I'll clean your clock. Get out of you, here you, get gone in a hurry. For the rest of the day, I don't want anyone furry. Roller rink parties are a fun thing to do, but do please beware of the mute kangaroo. Thank you.
Yay! That was much better than Disney World. Take my word for it.
Okay.
Thank you, John. Susan Beth Carlson.
Hi there.
So I'm just wanted to say it's a good thing it was a kangaroo and not a tick, you know? But anyway, everything I hear on these things, you just, it's so hard not to relate to it and think of things in your life or other things that you've written that remind you. I can't say that I've ever had a kangaroo experience quite like that, but Donna, I just wanted to mention how much I loved your poem. And earlier in the week, I was involved with some musical stuff, a lot of 60s people, and this is what I wore.
Oh, I'm so jealous.
I just happened to have it handy, and I thought, oh, I've just got to show Donna. But anyway, I have 2 poems and 10 photos to share tonight. And the first poem is called Masking Choices. Which mask will I wear? Will it be disposable, decorative, functional? Will it protect, obscure, or enhance? Will it contain a filter? Will the filter only let in truth? Will the filter be made of humor, of compassion, of electrically charged delight? Will it let the air of spirit flow through or block it? Will I change to different filters at different times? Will I be able to breathe, or will I get lightheaded or worse while venturing out with it on my face? Will air and all that it contains leak in through the edges or flow through the mask instead? And what will be under my mask when I take it off? Flushed, moist skin, a smile, or a fearful, stressed out mess? The real me. Will I stay physically distant while connecting socially? Will I sometimes throw caution and COVID to the wind and venture outside without one? Will I make the consequences of that choice? There are so many masks, so many choices for me. Some masks are built in and there is no choice. Even before the pandemic, that was so. Somehow, when we contemplate the masks that seem to cover part of who we are, we begin to instead see more of who that is. We are the masks, the filters, and the soul and spirit that holds them in its embrace. Oh, I forgot. I don't need to choose a mask. I already have one. Are you following the guidelines? This ought to keep them 6 feet away. All righty. So the next thing that you're going to see will take me a sec to set up. And I just want to let you know that it is a tanka, which is a short poem similar to haiku. And I captured all the images right here on Cape Cod, and 3 of them were in Falmouth. 1 or more images go with each line of the tanka. And I'm going to read the tanka twice. The first time it will coordinate with a picture. So here we go. Sing forth, gentle birds. Blossom, burst, colors open. Bring sun's works afire. Passion lives many colors. Nature lives in brethren song. Sing forth, gentle birds. Blossom burst, colors open. Bring sun's works afire. Passion lives many colors. Nature lives in brethren song. And that is called Fireworks. Thank you.
So beautiful. Those blossom photos look like out of a fairy tale.
Those were from Dowses Beach, and I was there one night and the moon was out, and I was walking around because everything, it was that, golden hour when everything just looked gorgeous. And I thought, ooh, I saw holes in the flowers, and I just moved it till the moon was in certain spots, and it looked like the flowers were holding the moon. So yeah, it's pretty cool. And that one where it's like looks like it's plucking it. And then there was a fisherman there, and he was fishing, and I was taking pictures of the moon when he was in my way, you know, and I thought, oh, I wish he wasn't there so I could get this picture of the moon. And then I realized, oh my goodness, he's supposed to be part of this picture. So he looks like he's fishing the moon out of the ocean in that one.
Oh, so wonderfully unique. Thank you so much, Susan.
All righty, thank you.
Christina, I know we've seen you before at FCTV, but not on the virtual yet.
Let's see. Is that
You're unmuted now.
Oh, okay. All right. Yeah, it's my first time on here, but not. I find a lot of inspiration from other poets. And so I have my first poem, I'm going to read three. My first poem is called Monotone, and it comes from a poem by Carl Sandburg. It's called Monotone. So I want to read his first, and then I'll read mine. It's called Monotone by Carl Sandburg. The monotone of the rain is beautiful, and the sudden rise and slow relapse of the long multitudinous rain. The sun on the hills is beautiful, or a captured sunset, sea-flung, bannered with fire and gold. A face I know is beautiful, with fire and gold of sea and sky, and the peace of long, warm rain. So here's my monotone, with apologies to Carl Sandburg. The monotone of the sea is energizing, the even ebb and flow cascading across the deserted beach. The sun on the distant water sparkles in phosphorescence and joy, bannered with fire and gold, which is a quote from his poem. The soft voice and welcoming, as peaceful as the silent ocean and the fire of sky and ocean blaze. So that's, and then I'm working on publishing a book of cat poems, and so I thought I'd read two from that. The first one is called In the City. They're short ones. In the city, within the sunshine of city sidewalk, an old man, hair disheveled, beard curled and knotted, sleeps crouched on the hissing grate. A thin, worn blanket covers his body, a cardboard box as his pillow. He snores sonorously. Coon cat slips into the crook of his arm. It's called In the City. And the second one's a little longer. It's called The Banquet. My editor did not like this at all. Rabbit, dead last night when the cat brought it back, lies inert in the grass. An island of beige and white in a sea of deep green grass. The crows jump from limb to limb, caw to each other in discernibly different songs. They drop, first one, then three, to the grass below. They hop across the lawn. With cynical, crooked beaks, they attack fur and bone. The cat, crouched on the windowsill, observes the feast, stretches her back in an arch, and settles down, looking satisfied at her contribution to the banquet. Thank you.
Oh, wow. Well, your editor doesn't know about this. How death is with us everywhere. You know,
Yeah, yes.
I live in a place where there's animals. I've had a rabbit die right in front of my front porch. You know, it's life.
It is, and death. Yeah, yeah. And the fewer rabbits, the more tulips I have.
Oh.
They eat all my tulips. Anyway, thank you.
That's a glass half full. Very good. Okay, Patricia Austin.
Where is she?
Hi.
Hello.
I'm Patricia Austin, by the way, in Hyannis. I'm going to read a posé, a poetical essay. I call them posés. And then if there's time, a tiny little poem. This is called Such a Pretty Plate. In the grave today, I see Anna's legacy sitting on the desk, a Wedgwood commemorative plate depicting the observatory at Smith College. The plate is perched in a holder, so it cannot be forgotten. Although usually created in the distinctive Wedgwood blue, this one is an equally distinctive green, picturing the place where the state-of-the-art equation for measuring the distance of planets from the Earth, a cornerstone of the practice of astronomy, was discovered and perfected. For years I wondered why this plate was left to me by my great aunt Anna, a woman far beyond her time. Why had it been so important to her that I, among all family members, was the one to get it? It isn't particularly valuable. It's pretty and made by a famous company, but now in full-flung maturity, it suddenly hit me. Smith College is a woman's college. The two astronomer scientists who discovered and perfected this equation in 1932, which is still used today, are women. Yet nowhere on this handsome plate does it say that. Nowhere does it state their names or sing their praises in any way or even mention that they're women. The plate glorifies the building and the school and the unspoken implication that men rule the world. Now, if you saw this in print, you would see there's a little tiny asterisk by the line that says, nowhere does it state their names. And then at the bottom, there's a footnote that says, Harriet Williams Bigelow was the director of the observatory from 1906 to 1934. Yet nowhere is she referenced regarding this achievement, nor is there any reference to the other woman scientist. However, so momentous was this find, this achievement in 1932, that the state of New York erected a sign in 1932 immortalizing the name of the male director who died in 1921. I kid you not. I couldn't believe it when I found that sign. Amazing. One tiny little song and one very small little poem. And I loved your pictures, Susan. I loved that whole piece. That's wonderful. But very tiny here. Wind rustling the trees, the cry of baby birds expecting breakfast, distant sounds of man's world, imposing noise on the natural beauty. Lest we forget, we have chosen to not be part of nature.
Yay. Thank you, Patricia. Lovely.
Thank you. Bye.
An interesting history there with the Wedgwood story. Thank you for that.
If I'm still on the camera, this is, I should have shown you this. This is, can you see it? I don't know if you can.
Yeah.
You can? Okay. But that's the picture, and that is the Wedgwood Green, but it's also, that's the observatory at Smith College. The plate is dated 1932 and it is about that find, but it's not referencing the fact that it was made by women at all, ever.
Well, you brought it to light, so good for you. Okay, next up is Jackie Finney. I feel a laugh coming on, Jackie.
Hello.
There you go.
Yes. Well, I have, thank you, Andrew. I think it delighted him to mute me. But anyway, as it turns out, I've been gagged, for months now. And sometimes people who know me see me coming and they can't believe their dream came true. But anyway, hello. I have decided I was going back and forth on what to read. But anyway, after I listened to John Jackson, I thought, that's what I do. I do versification. Oh my God, I had no idea. For a while, I was just calling it doggerel. And then I looked up Skiltonic poetry, wonderful thing. And I thought maybe that's what I do too. But I enjoy everybody, what they have to say. I just don't seem to do some of that. Anyway, c'est la vie. So this is, I worked at a church thrift shop, and I thought one day I'd like to promote business, and I wanted to write something. It came to me. So this is, look at that, what it looks like. Let me see it. It's kind of ripped. But anyway, I think there's a grocery list on the back. So we're considering new signage for the thrift shop. Top priority would be to make drivers stop. So in an effort to do just this, I think we would be remiss to plant just one big sign to see when several catchy ones should be. One's not unlike the Burma shaves of old that lead onlookers to behold the treasures, gifts galore, the variety of books behind our door. Then in our building we do store enticement, if you will, a usage of allure, to sell our fine goods, books, and furniture, via that most cajoling advert means humor. In addition to essential information, the name, days, times of operation, we could suggest the option of stop to drop. That is a giving and a taking component, which certainly, regarding our inventory, is important. So as Burma Shave was a successful campaign, not ever mediocre or lame, and retro is all the rage, why not into it we ourselves engage? From highways we do seek, the stopovers willing to peek at items both cheap and unique. If we can't really travel Route 66, we'll settle for Route 28 for our kicks. And if we can find a rhyme for Wacoit, let's put it in this ditty to employ it and enjoy it. So that's that one here. And then I have other ones that I was going to say. But one thing I think I'm going to do, thanks for your indulgence, I always say now, what I've been doing over the years is kind of paying tribute to people, especially if it's their birthday. Now, I waitress for years, and I met various people, and I got close with them, and I like to cajole. So there was one man that used to come in with his lovely wife. I knew nothing about them, but for some reason they sat there, and I thought of Fred Astaire and Ginger Rogers. So I started waiting on them periodically, and I always addressed them as Fred and Ginger, and we would laugh about them. So anyway, over the years, I got to know them. Unfortunately, Ginger passed away. I didn't know them well, though, and I did meet a daughter. And then the time came on and on. So anyway, a couple of years ago, actually, 2016, they were having a little get-together at the Silver Lounge, and they were celebrating this man and I wrote a poem. And so the poem is called Le Premier Rendezvous Chez Vous at the Silver Lounge. You were seated at T3 in a chair, and lovely Ginger Rogers was there. And I thought to myself, what a pair. Not referring to her gams, by the way. A twosome extraordinaire, elegant, I had to say what I was wont to. Dear Frederick Austerlitz, that's Fred Astaire's real name. Though from champagne I get no kick, day and night I love your shtick. I'm no Adele or Audrey or Rita, just someone who was happy to meet ya. You see, you are Fred's Doblinger, me a dopey word wrangler. You tap danced your way into my heart and gave this server such a start. Even your footsteps ordinaire bespeak your signature F. Astaire. You dancer, romancer, entrancer. Together, magic and moonlight, your aura so sophistically bright. We began the begin, and voila, what a shared splendiferous rhapsody between. You channeled the lyrical pulse of Cole Porter, right smack from his aorta. No one's peer to your suavite. You are just so très. Debonair, bon vivant, dapper, so modern, a bada rapper. Continental, tango, Lindy hop. May your soul, S-O-U-L, S-O-L-E, never stop. Your West Falmouth top to top, as well as dear Tish's pop. An all-time winner, no flop. A Beau Brummel, while no fop. Distinctly, uniquely, the finest, divinest, Jim, Fred's twin. So evermore, when I do slumber, it's you and me and the rumba. When doers I do drink, to your glass I will lovingly clink. Of votre bonne santé I will think. Of friendship without an endship. So, anyway, so I just love doing that. And to tell you the truth, I think, not boastfully, I hope, I can't help it. I just do it. And thank you for listening.
Yay, Trey, my friend. Thank you for that. You never disappoint, my dear.
Well, it's wonderful to see you and the others. And I was yelling at Sam. I don't know if she heard me, but I've missed it. And this is a very enjoyable. And I will so happily go back and listen again to each and everyone's contribution, because I just find it so wonderful. Thank you.
Thank you. Let's see, Samm Carlton.
Okay, can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Oh, good. Well, today has been a day, one of those days. I woke up at 3 o'clock in the morning. I felt I was sort of propelled out of bed by what's happening across the country and by what's happening particularly in Portland and maybe in Chicago and maybe other places as well. But I finally got back to sleep and got up about 6 or 7 and started to read the Falmouth Enterprise. I'm kind of late this week, but I found somebody called Elizabeth Saito. And I don't know if you've read her, but if you haven't, she is fabulous. She writes called Notes from a Pandemic, and I think she's weekly. So what an up. And little epiphanies. She's just, in her writing, you get these little epiphanies. You go, oh yes, I feel that way. It was an up after the down of 3 o'clock. So I'm going to read what I consider are perhaps 2 small epiphanies. One by my sister, Mary Swope, and the second by me. I'll start with Mary. And this one is called Gesture. A young girl kneels by the roadside, books under the crook of one arm. She strokes a small, shining dog. I see her caught in the copper and blue afternoon, a girl in marble, tying her sandal. Long brown hair across one cheek falls down her white blouse, brilliant in the perfect air. I see her through my car window, through the rushing hour, dark sand streaming down the glass. Above her, a birch unwraps itself, peels off layers like bells, like a gift. And she has a book coming out in February, just to tell you, a collection of her poetry. It's kind of exciting.
Awesome.
And now I'll read one of mine, and it's called The Boy. The boy with gray eyes stands on the edge, looking out at the world with a steady gaze. Small, still, quietly watching while I grew through decades, days, years, as a girl with more whatever I became, not quite the way I was supposed to. One evening, in a recent healing session, he appeared to me. I saw him. I saw him watching everything, as if you too were watching everything. Other people, you or me, living their lives or life minute by minute, hour by hour, passing like water or sand in an hourglass. All that time, he was there with me, and I'd been lonely all along, not knowing he was watching, all along as my life felt prickly or briefly tasted sweet, like fresh water tastes sweet when you're thirsty. But always it would return to the same old, too familiar place, heavy with returns. I had no thoughts, dreams, or whispers of someone I'd missed. And can you imagine, before ever imagining some essential part showing up without ever knowing it was missing? Like my boy with gray eyes, standing on the edge, quietly watching, witnessing, loving. Thank you.
Oh, so beautiful, Sam. Thank you. And how sweet of you to share Mary's poem. Do you know what the name of her book is to be?
Phosphorescence. I think it's going to be called Phosphor, after a poem that she wrote a while ago, and it's been, I think, I'm not sure if this book was Whole or Falmouth, but it's there. And so, but it's her entire, I think it's really pretty much her entire collection.
Wow.
So it's, fun for her.
Looking forward to it. Looking forward to see her again when she can. Thank you. First of all, thank you, everybody. I loved everything that everyone did. Also different, also unique, also heartfelt and funny and bewitching and odd. And I love these poetic licenses. So this is my family. I'm going to dedicate this poem to you guys.
Oh.
It's not a poem, it's a song. I've never sung on Zoom before, and I don't have my phone died, so I don't even have the starting note. I will try my best to get it in the right key. This is a song called Here's to Life. Sometimes when I get feeling lonely and very, very sad that nothing feels like it's ever going to be normal again or the same as it's been, I'm learning to concentrate on what's beautiful and the people who are right there in front of me. And this is a song about celebrating life. No complaints and no regrets. I still believe in chasing dreams and placing bets. But I have learned that all you give is all you get. So give it all you've got. I've had my share, I drank my fill, and even though I'm satisfied, I'm hungry still to see what's down another road beyond the hill and do it all again. So here's to life and every joy it brings. So here's to life, to dreamers and their dreams. It's funny how the time just flies, how love can go from warm hellos to sad goodbyes. and leave you with the memories you have memorized to keep your winters warm. For there's no yes in yesterday, and who knows what tomorrow brings or takes away. As long as I'm still in the game, I want to play for laughs, for life, for love. So here's to life and every joy it brings. Yes, here's to life, to dreamers and your dreams. May all your storms be weathered and all that's good be better. Here's to life, here's to love, here's to you. May all your storms be weathered and all that's good be better. Here's to life, here's to love, here's to you. Yay.
Beautiful.
Here's
Wonderful.
to you, everybody.
Thank you, Donna.
Oh, how wonderful. How Michel Legrand, I thought. I love him.
It's not Michel Legrand. It's actually two fairly unknown writers, but just want to say the next poetic license is going to be August 27th. So don't forget to sign up. I hope you all come back into the fold here. If you have any suggestions or questions, you can also email Andrew at fctv.org. Thank you, Andrew, so much for all you do for us. Bravo, performers. And please be well, my friends. We'll see you next time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Donna,
Thank you.
God bless everybody.